Mark McCall here, judging the image, bowl full of beautiful, beautifully done image of a young lady in a little bowl. I see where the title's coming from. Nice choice of matte color. I love the soft look and feel of the entire thing. Expression on the child is fantastic. I've got it at a 77, and maybe I can give you some insight into getting that score higher, and then use this commentary to apply it to future images to get those scores up as well. There's a few technical things that we can address right away that will immediately improve the score. The very first thing that jumped out at me when it came up on my screen was the matte. The matte, although the color is beautiful, it matches the scenery perfectly, it's too big. It just takes over the image. So I'm going to do a quick, I don't know, shrinking of that matte to give you an idea of what would be a better presentation. So I'm going to just make the subject larger in the frame. By the way, your keystrokes are awesome. Great job on the keystrokes, staying within the same color palette. Okay, now the image isn't overpowered by the matte. It's more complementary than it is taking over. Okay, that is the first thing. Another thing I'd like to point out, and I'm going to put a layer on here so I can draw on your image. Let's get a red pen. I see a really big bruise coming from the shadow created by the main light. Let's get a pen here that's going to really show up. This whole area is darker than the rest of the background. Now that's not a deal killer per se, but it's really more than a judge would like to see. I see it all through here and up through here. So I'm going to recommend using a reflector. You really don't need a secondary light like a fill light. I think a reflector would be plenty because we just want to kick in just enough light to make this look like this. And if you can do that, it's going to be a higher score for you. Okay, so be mindful of that. Whenever we use a single light source, consider using a reflector to knock down some of those shadows. The ratio on the child is great. The amount of shadow on this side of the baby is fantastic. It's all in the background where I see a problem. The third thing I'd like to point out is the eyes. Look at how dark her eyes are. They're really, really close in density between the pupil and the iris. You know, matter of fact, I'm struggling to see the difference. So I've included an eye retouching video along with these video critiques. So get your hands on that and watch it. But I'm going to give you a quick sample of what I do. But I'm going to do it on this image so you can kind of benefit from that. Now, the first thing I like to do is use the sharpen tool to sharpen these tiny, tiny lines that are, they actually all point to the pupil of the eye. But in this image, it's so dark I really can't see them. But we're going to use the tool anyway, and I'm going to overdo it so it really shows up on your screen. But here's how I do it. And by the way, make sure that you always have both eyes on the screen at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to rub it around the iris of the eye. We're starting to see it show up there and there. Let's do it a little more here. Okay, that's a little overdone, but you're getting the idea. The second thing I do is to use the dodge tool to dodge the back side of the iris. The back side of the iris is the part of the iris opposite the main light. So our main light is right here. We're going to dodge the back side of that eye. Okay, and again, I'm overdoing it. And then we're going to back off. Okay, there was a little bit of a, I don't know, this little area right here is overdone, but I'm just giving you an idea. Okay, look at the eyes now. They're much more pronounced. I can see a difference between the pupil and the iris. So use this technique to bring out the darkness of those eyes. Let me reword that. We want to suppress that darkness of the eyes, and this child now has a more expressive look to her. So use that eye touching technique to increase the level of your images, get those higher scores. And once I zoomed in, I saw something else. I would watch very closely on this wetness in the mouth, I would probably want to take that out. Um, and maybe that one and that one too. Just leave one little reflection of the light on the lips there, and that's going to help with the score just a little bit. Okay, I hope these things will come in handy to you, and good luck at the next level.